Hi, this is JT and welcome to G Club. Today's video is going to be about the 17 games that I'm missing out on by not being at GenCon. So, how sad that is, who knows, but these are games that I would love to get my hands on, either purchase or at least to get my hands on to demo and be able to check out. So, let's get to my list. Bottom of the ninth, it's the Clubhouse expansion. It's going to add some new features to it. I guess I'm kind of cheating though, because I just want to be able to play the demo. It's not actually going to be for sale there. I actually backed it on Kickstarter and I've been waiting for it to come in. So I'm kind of hoping in the next few months that I'll be able to get my hands on it. So it's really kind of a thing of, I just want to play with it and see what it looks like, see how it feels on the table, that kind of thing. So if you get a chance, the Bottom of the Ninth is a really good game. It's a 1 and 2 player game where you're dealing with the bottom of the ninth. So one person's the pitcher, the other person's someone in the batting lineup, where they can get up to 3 outs, but they're just trying to score 1 run. So it's that really intense part of baseball that's kind of broken down in just a 1/2 inning. So a really great game. You have some opportunities to kind of fake out your opponent. So I'm looking forward to a little bit more pizzazz and gameplay, as well as it's going to come with a box that's going to fit everything in it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And they had this slick cover that has somebody from like the Women's Baseball League, and I just thought it looked really cool. So I know they were changing some things up, so hopefully the art will stay the same with that. But I'm really looking forward to Bottom of the Ninth Clubhouse expansion. All right, this next one is Clank. Clank is a game that I really enjoyed. I really like the combination of the deck building as well as the pressure luck aspect of things. And just before GenCon, Renegade announces that they're going to do Clank in space, right? And I was really excited about that. They announced it, and then of course there's a ton of videos that flood out for it, showing how it plays and getting people's thoughts on it. So I like sci-fi, honestly, over usual tropes of fantasy. And so I really like the idea of Clank in space. And it sounds like there's some additional combinations and some additional mechanisms they're kind of thrown in there to give a little bit more meat on the bone. So from what I can tell, man, that's one I'm really excited about. And it looks like it's going to be available at GenCon. Now, we had a smash hit a while back called Codenames, right? A game that I have played numerous times, that I've seen multiple people decide to buy after they played it. So, I've got a copy of it myself. Really enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun, and it's just great. It's easy to learn, easy to be able to teach and play. So I really enjoyed it. But when I thought about Codenames, I didn't think about, it would be great if I could turn into a co-op. Didn't even cross my mind. But they've decided to do that in Codenames Duet. And so I was not really sure exactly what to make of that, but as I've seen some gameplay video, as I've seen some things come out about it, I am really liking what I see out of Codenames Duet. I know it's not necessarily a release that everyone's looking for, or something you'd want to play at GenCon, but that's one that I would actually love to play at GenCon, and I know it's set up. They're demoing it. They even have it for sale, so that would be one I'm really looking forward to. Just kind of a 2-player, almost deduction style setup where you're working together, not against each other. I really like that idea. Now, it's been a few years since Cutthroat Caverns had an expansion, and this is a game that allows you to really kind of mess with each other. Some of you might have played the game, I think it's Bloodborne, where whoever kind of kills the monster last actually gets the glory or the victory points of that. But this is a 6-player game, which is great for my game group. We played this a ton. We've actually enjoyed going through some of the choose your own adventure type games and expansions that it offers. So that's been a lot of fun. But it's coming out with a new expansion. I think it's called Death Incarnate. That's going to add in some more relic cards. And I saw something on there that didn't really intrigue me, and it's called the Allegiance cards or Alliance cards or something to that effect, which tells me that there might be some elements of team, elements of treachery, that kind of stuff. So if you like to play games where you're messing with each other, you know, you tripped, you didn't quite get to that point to be able to take that monster out. This seems like just an expansion that we're going to just gravitate towards. So it's actually been a while since we played Cutthroat Caverns, which is surprisingly for us because we played it a ton before. But I think we're getting to the point where if we get this expansion, we'll see that back on the table again and have a little bit more fun. So I'm looking forward to that one too. Okay, next up is a game from our expansion from White Wizard Games for Hero Realms. It's the Runes of Thundar, if I can say that right, campaign deck. Now, I'm a big fan of Star Realms. It's one of my favorite games of all times. I played a ton on the app. I played in tournaments on the app, and I just enjoy it thoroughly. I really enjoy what White Wizard puts out. I played Epic, I played Hero Realms, I played Star Realms, and so one of the biggest draws for Hero Realms, rather, was that it had not only heroes that you could play, but it was going to give me a cooperative campaign game. And man, did I get excited about that. So I backed it on Kickstarter, and I got the original set of Hero Realms along with the heroes, and I played that and I've enjoyed it. I feel like it has a little bit of separation from Star Realms, but to be honest, I'm really looking to see if this campaign will actually set this game apart from Star Realms. So I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully I'll get it in my hands soon. I did back it on Kickstarter. So again, this is one of those games where I just want to be able to get in there and see how it plays and get a demo of it. So that'd be a lot of fun, but looking forward to that one too. Next up is a game called Hot Shots, which is made by the same people, Fireside Games, that did games such as Castle Panic, Star Trek Panic, Munchkin Panic, along with Steve Jackson Games. But they came out with a game called Hot Shots, and I thought it was coming out this summer. I was really excited about that, but it's about firefighters who are dealing with wildfires out in the forest. Now, I live in California. We have wildfire season, and so it seems like we have that all the time. And I'm just really intrigued by the concept of a cooperative game where you're trying to control the fire from being able to spread. So you're trying to put down fire breaks, you're dealing with changing winds, you're dealing with intensity of fires, as well as just trying to keep your firefighters safe. So a lot going on here. It looks something completely different from the Panic series, which I'm glad that they're trying something else. I think Mr. DeWitt actually does a pretty good job. I think it's DeWitt, right? Yeah, I think it's DeWitt. I think it's Justin DeWitt. But he's been doing some really cool stuff with his games, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Now, if you're looking for a beautiful game, man, Jamaica. Look this game up. If you like pirates, if you like racing, you like a little bit of shenanigans, then Jamaica's for you. But they're coming out with an expansion. Honestly, I haven't even looked up what it's all about. It's called The Crew. Quite frankly, I don't care. I'm buying it. What else do you need to know about it? Jamaica's a great game. If you're looking for the expansion, looking for something to kind of spice it up a little bit, I'm going for The Crew. That's all I gotta say. That's it. Nothing. Just get it. Cut. Done. Okay, another game that's been out for a while is One Deck Dungeon. Now, that's a game that is supposed to be roguelike, and it does a really good job with dice mechanisms to get to the feel of trying to get through a dungeon crawl. I've enjoyed that game. I've tried playing through some of the campaign that's in there, of trying to level up your character as you go along. So, which is really kind of a cool concept. It's a lot of people play it solo, but you can play it 2-player. If you get another set, you can play 4-player. There is an expansion coming out that is a standalone expansion, so you can play it on its own or you can mix it in. So if you get both sets together and you want to be able to play 4 players, that's the way to do it. Now, some people would buy 2 sets so they could play 4 players, but honestly, I didn't really want to just have another set. But if you're going to give me more characters and you're going to give me some more flavor and give me something a little bit different to work with and be able to combine them to be able to make 4, then I'm sold. I will pick that up in a heartbeat. So would really like to get my hands on that one soon. But that was on Kickstarter earlier this year, and they're doing demos at GenCon. All right, this next one's going to be kind of interesting because, and I'll explain just in a second. But this one, when I heard about it, I thought, man, this sounds really interesting. I like survival horror. I think that's an interesting concept, because one of the things I like about co-ops, if you've seen my first Martians video, is that I love it when it is tough, when you open up the box and it basically socks you in the face. Okay, I love co-ops that do that, because there's no other reason to have a co-op if it's easy. So I like Sentinels of the Multiverse, because it can be a really tough game to play and can come down to just a few different card draws and how you play out. So I like a tight game. I like the opportunity to be able to go after it. So when I heard about this, that they're going to create out a series called Outpost, and that the first one was going to be Outpost Liberia, man, was I excited. This one I just am just chomping at the bit to get to, and fortunately I was able to get my hands on one thanks to IDW. So they actually sent me a copy of this, and I'm looking forward to cracking this thing open and playing with it and seeing how it plays. So man, I love the idea. Now there's some interesting things that they're doing with it, one of which is that they are they're just basically taking a deck of cards this big, and that's what all you use. You have a couple tokens to be able to track health, but that's it. And so these cards, though, they're supposed to have multi-use to them. So they'll have like one side here, and I'll show you a card. So here's an event card here, which is actually a good event, and it's multiple use. So here's a good event, and then you flip it over, and if it's something in your hand, you get to use it for the combat value, and if it's something that you lay out in the supply, you get to use it for as equipment, in this case a first aid. So interesting concept. They're trying to do everything within one box, one little tin, and then it looks like they're going to expand on it. And from what I'm hearing, the next one is called the Outpost Amazon, and it's supposedly going to be somewhat compatible, although I'm not sure how the Amazon kind of combines with Siberia, but you're supposed to be a bunch of scientists that are located in Siberia, that's such a great place to be at, right? And the Storm of the Century is coming in, and unfortunately nobody can get to you in time, and so you're going to have to endure for 30 days, or in this case 30 cards, in order to be able to get out of there. So if you can make it over 30 cards, then you are successfully survived the game. So interesting. I'm glad I've got this, so I can try this out and be able to play with my family and friends and see what they think. So look out for that review. Okay, the next one is well, it's season 2 of Pandemic Legacy. Now, I still haven't finished season 1. I know I should finish it quickly so that I don't get anything spoiled. But season 2 is coming out. I love what I'm dealing with in Pandemic Legacy season 1. My wife and my boys, we've been playing through the campaign there, and are absolutely loving the game. It is so much fun. I love the storyline that it creates. I love how things change along the way, and how you have to deal with new encounters and new rules and new obstacles. So really looking forward to season 2. I know that they just have kind of a small demo of things, and I really wouldn't want much more than that, but I'd love to be able to see what it's trying to do. I'd love to be able to get kind of behind the scenes on the story about what's going on with it. So Pandemic Legacy season 2. We seek 'em here, we seek 'em there. Those Frenchies seek him everywhere. Is he in heaven or is he in hell? That darn elusive Pimpernel. Now, some of you probably going, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard that before in my life. Now, my wife loves the movie The Scarlet Pimpernel, and when we first got married, I went through a phase where DVDs had just started coming out, and I got myself a DVD player, and we made a deal. I would get martial arts movies, and she would pick up old classics. So we would get different movies with Spencer Tracy in it, and I would end up with Jackie Chan, and then she would pick up these other movies, and then I would end up with Bruce Lee. So we compromised, and we were able to watch both of those and enjoy it. But there's one in particular that was really an old film called The Scarlet Pimpernel. And one of the things I enjoy is playing games with my wife. My wife is very competitive. She likes to play, and she'll go hard after everything. And the wonderful thing about her is that she's willing to try anything, okay? She's willing to try any game that we play, and man, I absolutely love her for it. But the challenge is that not every game does she like, okay? She's very peculiar about her taste when it comes to games. Now, I've worked with her on it, and I've tried to figure out what exactly you're looking for, and I know what not to get. But theme is very important to her, and by having a game called The Scarlet Pimpernel, man, I have no choice but to buy that. I have no choice but to go after that. So I believe that one is on sale at GenCon right now, so I'm going to be looking forward to that one. It's worker placement, which my wife is not adverse to. And quite frankly, I'm looking forward to seeing if she likes it. So there we go. All right, for this next one, I'm just going to show you the boxes because I and my wife, we love Sentinels of the Multiverse. We have all the sets. And while you can see that this is still kind of in shrink, we've been trying to play through a campaign dealing with all of the stuff from Sentinels, from Rook City, from Relics, from the other expansions. And so we've been working through a campaign that we've been working on ourselves in order to be able to defeat this. And so it's taken us a long time to be able to perfect the campaign. As a large motorcycle or lawnmower goes by my house, but it's all here, and one of the things we're waiting for is Oblivion. Oblivion is the last expansion. It's going to complete everything in the multiverse, and is going to bring the multiverse to an end. So if you're not familiar with Sentinels, imagine taking a lot of your favorite characters from DC, from Marvel, and kind of creating its own flavor. And so there's characters in here that remind me of different people within both universes of DC and Marvel, and it puts in a nice neat package, and it's a lot of fun. My wife and I really enjoy playing this game on a regular basis. We've introduced so many people to it, and love playing this over and over again. So when it came time for us to complete the multiverse, this was one purchase that I did not have to convince my wife of, and we happily jumped in on it. And the reason I'm showing you this is because what's supposed to happen next is they're supposed to come out with a huge box, because we got the collector's edition box that's supposed to take up this whole section here, I imagine, on my shelf, and I'm going to be able to put everything in there that ever was made for Sentinels in the Multiverse, and I'm pretty excited about that. All right, this next one is an expansion to another game that's a favorite of ours around here, and that is Sheriff of Nottingham. Now, Sheriff of Nottingham is coming out with an expansion called The Merry Men. Now, there's 5 modules that are in here. The one in particular that I'm really interested in is that instead of having a sheriff, it actually has 2 deputies. And the deputies have to agree on whether or not to open up the bag of contraband, or see if you have contraband within your bag. So if you're not familiar with Sheriff of Nottingham, the one person, everyone takes turns playing the sheriff, Sheriff John, and he is looking to see if he needs to inspect the bags for illegal activity, as folks or merchants are trying to get past him with those items. So you might have chickens, you might have cheese, but you have to be upfront about what you have. But you could be telling the truth, or you could be lying to him, and he's got to determine whether or not you are, and sometimes there's bribes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see what happens when you throw in 2 deputies instead of a sheriff. The other one is Merry Men. Merry Men are contraband, if you will, that you can actually sneak in to the city this time, and if you get them through without being caught, then they have special abilities that you can activate as well. There's a black market, which adds new bonus cards for illegal goods. There's the law. Sheriffs must draw 3 law cards and choose to keep 2, and they're in play for the entire round. Not sure what those are, but it sounds really interesting. And this last one is special orders. They indicate combinations of one legal and one illegal good. If players can smuggle both of these items in, they get that card, which gives them bonus gold. So the biggest thing for me is that it's going to change it from a 5-player game to a 6-player game, which is typically what I have in my game nights is 6 players, and we don't typically break up a lot to play separate games, or if we do, it's usually because one guy's running late and we're waiting on him to show up, and so we decided to pull out a game like Scythe. Just kidding. So anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to with Sheriff of Nottingham. Here's a game that is actually already out in retail spaces, only found in Target, but man, it was on the list. They have it for sale at GenCon. So after this, I might actually go see if I can track that down. Anyway, it's Sonar. So those of you that are familiar with Captain Sonar, which was a game that got up to 8 players, where you're basically playing Battleship, but like on steroids, where everybody has their own unique role. Somebody's the captain who's barking out orders of which direction to go in. You have the engineer who's scratching out areas and energy. You have the radio operator where he's listening to the other team and is trying to figure out where they're at. But what they've done in Sonar is they've actually reduced it down to a 2 to 4 player game. Which is really intriguing. I think one of the biggest complaints I kept hearing about Captain Sonar was, I don't know if I'll ever get that, because really, I can't get 8 players to really get together very often to be able to play a game like that. Or the only time I'm going to play that is at a convention, so I don't really want to own it. So I think what they're trying to do with this game is to try to bring it down to that level to where a little bit more manageable of a size, where you're kind of combining some of the roles together in one page instead of having multiple laid out like you would if you were trying to play 2 players in Captain Sonar. Now this next game, or I guess expansion, is an expansion to a game that my family loves to play, and it's Splendor. And they've come out with an expansion box that actually has 4 expansions in it. And it's called the Cities of Splendor. So one of the expansions is cities, and cities replaces nobles altogether. So you get rid of the nobles, put the cities in. They act kind of like the same way, where you're actually looking to meet a requirement to then receive that city. One of the differences, though, is that in the expansion, you have to take a city in order to win. In Splendor, you could get away without going the route of getting nobles, and you could still potentially win the game, but you cannot win unless you get the cities. Then there's trading posts, which give the players special abilities and give them opportunity to be able to help kind of build up their engine to be able to get different types of powers. That sounds really interesting too. And then there's the Orient, which introduced new cards. So you're going to be able to add in a little bit more into the game than what you're used to, all the basic cards. And these cards also have special abilities, such as being able to copy other gem bonuses of other cards that are out there. So fun stuff like that kind of changes up the game quite a bit. And then there's Strongholds, which deal with player interaction, give you a little bit more to kind of mess with each other kind of thing. So it allows you to kind of block other players from being able to get certain cards that are out there. But with all that said, I really enjoy Splendor, but it's a tight game. It's very streamlined. The thing of it is, though, is that after a while, it feels like you can kind of, if you get to a certain point or you kind of hit a certain stride, if you will, that it gets a little bit on the samey side. So I still enjoy going back and playing it, but I think this expansion, which gives you 4 different ways in which to kind of interact and change up the game, is going to bring some more life back to Splendor. Now, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of Star Realms, and Star Realms is coming out with additional content. They just finished a Kickstarter called Frontiers, but one of the things that have come up is that there's a little expansion pack called Scenarios, and what Scenarios is supposed to do is kind of change up the rules a little bit, mess with the market line, mess with how things work. Maybe things cost less, maybe damage is more. So anything that I can add to my collection when it comes to Star Realms, I'm two big thumbs up for that. So I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, now this last one, while it may not be necessarily the one that's on everybody's radar, but this was the one that inspired me to actually make this video. And it's based off of an old television show on Sci-Fi. It's not old, but it expired a few years back, called Warehouse 13. Now, I know some of you roll your eyes. It's a cheesy show or whatever. I absolutely loved it. Family loved it, especially my boys. And it's just kind of fun how they're taking history and kind of mixing it in with this fantastic world where these artifacts have some kind of special power that somehow relates to what was happening at that time historically. So just really interesting stuff that they were putting together at the time. And I love the theme. And so when I heard that they were coming out with a board game, I got really excited about it. I've been tracking it online, almost kind of stalking it, if you will, because I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays. And so far, what I've heard is nothing but good things about it for those that have kind of jumped in and played in the beta. So I would love to be able to go to GenCon this year just so I can play Warehouse 13. And here, to kind of help close things out, is Carter. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. All right. And what do you got there, Carter? Who's that?
A bamboo.
Is that Batman? Hi. Who's Batman? Are you Batman?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. All right. That was my 17 games for GenCon 2017. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there are games you're saying, JT, you're out of your mind, why aren't you looking for this game? Man, put that down in the comments below and let me know that I'm wrong. Or if you like this video, please give us a like. And as always, we'd love to have you as a subscriber so you can get more content from us and we can add value to your games. All right. My name is JT and you've been watching G Club.
A Batman.